What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to the channel. It's your boy, Dead on Dave. And it's Tuesday, and it's your daily focus, and it's time to get to your Raw review. We got the Raw review, and of course, we are going to get into the amazing interview between Triple H and Stone Cold Steve Austin. I really enjoyed it, and we'll get into that in a second. The Raw review on this channel is always good because I get to go over the notes, the copious amounts of notes I didn't get to on the Joe Corona show. Get to, that's so weird. I didn't get to it. That sounds so strange, right? I mean, it's weird. Yep. Get to. Yeah. But it's correct. I don't know. I mean, it's right, though. I mean, grammatically. English person? Yeah, I know you're German. You're the worst person to ask. Miss Vacuum Cleaner.
At least I can spell better than you.
I can't spell for shit, and I've never claimed to be a genius. So, but I could say vacuum, and I could say wedding, because if she was going to vacuum a wedding, she'd be vacuuming a vetting. It's great. So 12 years, still cute.
Asking a German how to spell words is awesome.
Well, because you're smarter than I am.
I know.
Yeah, I'm completely aware of that. But then again, being smarter than me is like, you know, being the tallest midget. So I'm just saying, it's not saying much. No, why'd you give me the finger? I was more about, it was a knock on myself. Whatevers. Hey, what's going on? We got a lot to get to. It's going to be a lot of fun. Copious amounts of notes. And we're going to start right with that interview after Raw on the WWE Network, which is free for the month of February, by the way. Stone Cold Steve Austin interviews Triple H. Now, I understand there's going to be some criticism over the interview because did Stone Cold hit Triple H massively hard? No, he didn't. He didn't need to. He did ask some very good questions. He pushed him a little bit, but he didn't have to push Triple H in the manner that maybe he did at times with Vince. And Triple H was very forthcoming. He spoke a lot. He spoke well. I've already been a big Triple H fan for a long time. I enjoy everything that he does. What he said last night in so many respects just made so much sense. Everything he said made sense. He stayed away from specific names and specific incidents for obvious reasons in certain situations, and I thought that was very smart. There's no reason to throw certain situations or certain people or certain industries under the bus. There was no reason to do it, so he didn't do it. He's just a very smart guy. The cerebral assassin strikes again. And it was very smart. He was very forthcoming, and it was just friggin' entertaining. There was a lot about Triple H to like, and I think the thing that he did the most of throughout the interview, he called out Vince, and maybe people are like, what are you talking about? Go back and watch the interview again. He said, those are Vince's calls. And he didn't say, and they're always brilliant. No. He said, well, those are Vince's calls. Is what it is. And I think it was just very smart and very pointed. What I like most about the interview, the thing that they talked about ad nauseum for a while was kayfabe and how kayfabe is dead. Brilliant conversation, because I think 95% of the people who are into wrestling, and even a lot of the guys who watch these type of shows and stuff, don't understand that kayfabe is dead. It really is. It's just impossible in this era. And Triple H spoke so eloquently and so well about that, about just how hard it is, because you have to cater to so many different types of the demographic. And it's just like he echoed so many of the things that I say over and over, and all the things that I think about. It just, I really enjoyed it, because I don't feel like I'm so stupid now. I'm like, look, maybe some people wouldn't want to be in the same company as Triple H when they're thinking about wrestling and thinking about the business. Me, that's exactly where I want to be. I'm completely satisfied to try to say, okay, a lot of things that he's saying, that's what I try to talk about. And what he stresses is the same thing I stress. And that's, you have to look at things from different angles. If you noticed, he wasn't throwing situations or people under the bus completely. He would speak to the positives and the negatives. maybe some people will take that as, oh, he was just giving corporate answers. Two things can be true. There are multiple things can be true here. Yeah, they might be somewhat corporate answers, but it doesn't make them any less correct. And especially the things that he was saying. They weren't like Vince's corporate answers. These were good answers, and he spoke a lot. He talked a lot. He went on these long things, and they had some funny stuff in there, and we'll get into some specifics in a moment. One of the first things is China. I talking about China, and the fact that he wouldn't say, just to answer Stone Cold's question, is she going to be in the Hall of Fame? And he wants to say, yes, of course, she should be in the Hall of Fame. Well, when Stone Cold pushes her, he doesn't say, because she's a friggin' porn star. Because that's what you could see it on his face. That's what he wanted to say. It's like, because she's a friggin' porn star. That's why. And it's not the same way that you could be like, oh, well, there's all kinds of divas who have been in the Playboy and stuff. Yeah, but it's a little bit different, when you're basically showing all of your holes to the world, as China has done. It's a little bit different. Yeah, maybe people are going to say, oh, well, X-Pac's the one who first, screwed her on camera. And he'll probably get in with DX. Yeah, well, there's a little bit of a double standard. He didn't go out and show his dong to the entire world for the next 3-4 years either. It was a one-time shot. And literally, see what I did there? That's brilliant. And that was it. China made a career out of it. And she made a lot of bad choices, and she went and put WWE on blast and certain people on blast very often, very frequently. But I'll get to some of the things that she said, because she wrote, tweeted out a lot, and this was kind of cool. She goes, wow, I just put my Twitter on and have all of these messages never been a trending topic before. I understand that the question was asked, why am I not in the Hall of Fame? I have my reason as to why. However, let me make this clear. If the WWE was ever to say that I was going to be inducted either as part of the groundbreaking DX or as an individual, well, my answer would be what a friend of mine used to say in the ring. Oh, hell yeah. I just want to take a minute and thank you, all of the fans that keep my name out there. You have no idea what it means to me. I love you all. I have contacted the WWE several times over the years. They have not responded back. That sounds about what we got from Triple H. He wouldn't go into detail about one of the underlying reasons, obviously the tension between her and Stephanie, since China has on multiple occasions said Stephanie stole Triple H from her. Whether or not it's true, I thought it was classy of Triple H not to address it. I enjoyed the fact that he made reference to obvious things that everybody understands exactly what he's saying, but you don't need to always say those words, especially when you are basically the second in command. It was very smart, very prudent, and I don't think anybody misunderstood a lot of what he was saying. And there was only one or two times where even Stone Cold would just ask for clarification. He only had to do that like once or twice, and that was it, because I think Triple H made it very clear in the way he said things. I really enjoyed it. I thought it was very cool. And my wife was sitting here watching it with me, and she usually tunes out these type of interviews, but she enjoyed it too. She really thought he was captivating, and it was just a lot of fun, so that was cool. Triple H, after the interview, said had a great time talking with Stone Cold on the Stone Cold podcast. Go to WWE Network and look up Buddy Rogers. That was really cool. If you watch the network, you know exactly what. If you watch the interview, you know exactly what he's making reference to. They talk about his favorite stuff in the past, and they get into Buddy Rogers, and he's like, you know, it's just the day and age that we're in. A lot of these people are going to have to go look up Buddy Rogers, and he's not wrong about that. Now, you and I, if you're watching this show, more than likely you know who Buddy Rogers is. You know the original Nature Boy. There's no question. As you should. I mean, if you're putting this much time into wrestling to watch a bunch of dickheads on a couch talk about wrestling, then, you know, at least do the research into it and become a little knowledgeable about the business. You don't have to. I don't mean that to be like, oh, la-ti-da. What I'm meaning is, I'm just the type of person, and this is just me, that if I'm going to talk about something, I like to be knowledgeable about it. I like to at least have a background, a history. If I'm right or wrong on a topic, that's fine, but I at least want to be able to go back to the facts and to the historical aspect and be able to point to say, at least I know this. I can say I got a good background. How do you think Triple H came off in this interview? I felt he came off fantastically well, very well spoken, very candid. I thought that he bared a lot of himself in the interview. I don't think he held a lot of who he is back. I like that he talked about a lot of the things in the back and how he develops with talents. I loved all the talking that he did on NXT. I thought it was very well done. Of course, there's going to be a lot of people who are not going to accept a lot of what he said, even though it made so much sense. And addressing the Roman Reigns situation without saying, what do you want us to do? It was pretty smart. The things that he would say and drive home points about the storyline constantly moving and constantly evolving, it just makes complete sense. And I think he even made a good reference to Daniel Bryan, which I thought was very interesting. He says at one point that Daniel Bryan understood last year during the run, and it almost seemed like he said Daniel Bryan was calling for some of his own burials. And he goes, no, you have to kill me off at this. That was telling. And Daniel Bryan seems to be that type of guy because Daniel Bryan seems to be a very knowledgeable wrestling guy. He seems to be a student of the game, very much like Triple H. And I just got a sense from the little bit of how, considering that Daniel Bryan is one of the maybe 4 or 5 people that Triple H actually talked about by name at any point during the interview, it kind of tells me that Daniel Bryan is one of Triple H's friends. He's closer to Triple H than people might want to give credit to. So that is pretty interesting and pretty cool. I just feel it came off so well. It was way better than Vince's interview. There's no question about that. Yes, Vince is a bigger name, but it doesn't matter. Triple H came off so well. And I think you, as a fan, you have to be excited about the future based off of a lot of his answers. When asked what he would change about the industry, or change about Raw, his answer of going to 2 hours and why, absolutely brilliant. Absolutely brilliant and 100% correct. I thought that was great. It was absolutely great. And wanting to develop storylines over a longer period of time. I mean, these are things that people call for, but then being smart about what he's saying, he would also say, I understand that a lot of people, and this is where that divide comes in, of having to appease so many different sects of people. A lot just want their instant gratification. And those are the people who don't understand the value of a good payoff in a storyline. And that's what you do kind of have to take into consideration. Why aren't payoffs hitting? Well, maybe it's because we have all these microwave friggin' storylines. How is a payoff supposed to hit home? And you know what? I have a perfect example of how to back that up. Look at what TNA's doing right now. They're not building. That's the problem. They've had, 3 or 4 World Heavyweight title changes in the past 3 or 4 months. Wrestlers coming back, legendary wrestlers like Kurt Angle coming back, not building a story and winning the World Heavyweight Championship off of a guy who just won it off of a dominant, physically champion like Bobby Lashley. It just doesn't make any sense, and there's no payoff. Now, I understand a lot of people have been praising the product of TNA lately. I've been watching Impact weekly, and I haven't seen that improvement that people are talking about. I haven't seen it since they've moved to the new network. I feel that it's gotten worse, if anything. I think it's more of the same. They're constantly talking about how they're changing the product and all that, but they haven't. Maybe some of the in-ring work has been a little bit tighter, but that has never been TNA's Achilles anyway. That's never been the biggest issue at TNA. It's just the overall product, whether it be how they book matches, how long they do it, and just how the storylines never seem to connect. And that's the same problem, and that's what Triple H was speaking to, and I thought it was such a brilliant thing to bring up. So it is what it is, but I'm sure I'm just a Triple H mark. It's not that. It couldn't possibly be that what he said made complete sense and won me over. No, I'm a Triple H mark. I'm a WWE mark. Whatever. Eat it. I don't give a shit. Anyway, let's get into the Raw review, man. I rewatched it after I did the Joe Cronin show, which, by the way, Joe Cronin show, we tore it up last night. It was a really, really good episode. I brought in some 1997 rock. That was great. Joe put me on a spot. That was fun. Next time I'll have better material, I promise. That was good. It was a really good show with the Joe Cronin crew, as always. Great callers. We had a lot of fun. So go check that out if you haven't. If you have not already watched it, make sure you go check it out. A lot of fun. I went and watched Raw again after that when I woke up this morning. And I may have undersold Raw a little bit. And I was kind of high on it. But the more I look back on it, Raw was very well done. And Roman Reigns, just like Stone Cold said, and Stone Cold said this, and he just buried Reigns on a podcast last week. He said it perfectly. Roman Reigns, at the end of that show, he shined. He shined. He came out, he created havoc. He acted like a top guy. That's the first thing I want to talk about is how Roman Reigns came out and acted like a top guy, because that's what he did. He created havoc, he created chaos, and if you really paid attention, he handpicked his opponent for Fastlane, and it was Daniel Bryan. What the WWE has done and a lot of people, now we'll go to the beginning of the show, is the big announcement. A lot of people are kind of upset about the announcement because in some ways it does take away from what the meaning of the Royal Rumble is, and I get that. But I don't think anything's going to really change the main event. I don't see any big changes coming. I think maybe there might be an addition to it, but I have a feeling it's still going to be Roman Reigns and Brock Lesnar. That being said, what they've done now is they've did almost a mini tournament style by having Daniel Bryan come out and claim his make his claim on the WrestleMania match, and having Seth Rollins claim his spot for the WrestleMania match. What they were able to do is kind of make a mini tournament for WrestleMania, and I thought that was kind of smart because Roman Reigns, because he won the Royal Rumble, he gets a bye to Fastlane, and he's going to take on the winner of the match last night between Daniel Bryan and Seth Rollins, which was a fantastic match. So what did the WWE accomplish by what they did? Here's what we got. We got more Daniel Bryan. We got to see Daniel Bryan in his most extensive match he's had since returning. We got to see Daniel Bryan and Seth Rollins one-on-one, which is never a bad thing. And more importantly, now we get a big-time match for Roman Reigns at Fastlane that, if it's done properly, if the match is booked correctly, this is going to go a long way in quelling a lot of fears that people are having of Roman Reigns. Now, a lot of people are going to continue to hate and boo and get mad just if Roman Reigns wins this match, regardless of how it happens. Regardless if it's a 5-star match or whatever. Doesn't matter. If Roman Reigns wins, there's still going to be a constituency of people that are just going to hate. And that's fine. I understand that. But I think that we're at the point now where you can see that there is some upside here. And this match, and more importantly, Roman's actions leading into the match, are going to really help his stock and his legitimacy going into WrestleMania. I'm very excited about this. I think that the match between Bryan and Roman can be very good. I think it's going to help set up WrestleMania in a lot of ways. And that was kind of the theme all night on Raw. It was quite good. The opening promo was 27 minutes long. It was way too long. And this had the fingerprints of Vince all over it. The little bit of digging at the crowd, the little bit of teasing of the crowd, and talking about the Super Bowl in some aspects and all of that. It just had a very Vince feel. The direct reference to cancel the NFL Network thing, which was an obvious reference to the cancel the network. It was just a very cancel WWE Network. I mean, it was just very interesting. to see how they built that, because it just felt like Vince over-explaining things where he didn't really need to do. So Reigns comes out, and Triple H explains to him, there's this controversy, and it was The Rock. It had nothing to do with Curtis Axel. It had nothing to do with going TV 14 or anything else that people were thinking that the announcement was going to be. It was The Rock and how Roman Reigns had a very big assist in winning the Rumble. Something I noticed very quickly. Why are you reading my notes, and why do you have such a weird look on your face as you're reading my notes? You're reading my notes, and you look very confused.
Fucking show, fucking match, fuck.
Because I'm mad about that. God. What I noticed about Roman Reigns when he came out, the boos were not that bad. Some boos were there, but they were not that bad. It was Colorado. Everyone was too high to boo. I don't know. The boos were not that bad, and I think that's a very good thing. We shouldn't be calling for Roman Reigns to get booed like that. The fact that they're giving us Daniel Bryan and Seth Rollins and keeping Daniel Bryan somewhat in the main event picture, I think is really cool and a smart way to kind of tie it all together. What's wrong with this? Yes, we're going to get Reigns and Lesnar. I don't think it's going to be as bad as everyone thought. I mean, geez. And something else that Triple H talked about is just the fact that every time that they seem to be pushing a guy, that's who the new hatred comes on. If you don't believe me, we'll talk about it a little bit later to the reaction that Daniel Bryan got. Jesus, that was amazing to me. Screw it, I'll talk about it right now. Later on in the program, Daniel Bryan gets booed for bringing up Roman Reigns in a negative light. Daniel Bryan got booed. How is that possible if we're all so smart? If everyone out there who's just clamoring for the yes movement to once again hijack the show, not everybody believes what you believe, just like not everybody believes what I believe. I don't think that everybody is taking into consideration just how divided the wrestling audience truly is. And I think Triple H also touched on that during the interview, which was really smart. It's basically broken up into 4 sections. You got your kids, you got your kids and women, then you got a little bit older guys, the 18 to 25-year-olds who are looking for a different type of product. Then you got the 26 to about 35, which is my demographic, kind of the hardcore wrestling fans, the super, super hardcore wrestling fans. And then you got the older guys. Then you have the dudes who just kind of think everything is stupid, whether by mindset or by actual age. All this is just stupid and none of it makes sense, So there's just this divide of everybody. And I don't think enough is brought into that, and it's not given enough credit. So it was quite crazy. Seth Rollins tries to come out at some point during this opening promo, and they just took a weird commercial break. And one of the reasons why I love Seth Rollins so much is as soon as commercial came back, he goes, "Live TV," ha, 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 his little creepy laugh. I love Seth Rollins. The more I see of this guy, the more I like him. I'm really digging Seth Rollins and everything he's doing right now. So, more Seth. Yay. I was having a Facebook message with Joe at the same time I was taking notes as they were announcing the Bryan and Seth match, and the winner takes on Reigns for the number 1 contendership at WrestleMania. I'm having this conversation about diminishing the Royal Rumble, and I'm writing. It kind of bugs me quite a bit, but they do add on a lot. And then out of nowhere, I write, and I must have been really tired. Oh fuck! Not another fucking big fucking show, fucking match, fuck. That's what my wife was laughing at because she was reading it. I'm so tired of the big show. So this is my next note here. 27-minute opening, and now we have a Big Show Reigns match. # retire Big Show. I don't mean that as disrespectful to his career, to his contributions that he's made. Because, look, yes, he's boring and he sucks now. Big Show has been very, very important to the business. He helps put guys over. He does things that nobody his size has ever done before. There's never been a guy and I'm including Andre. Andre can move, but not the way Show moves. Show does things to his body for his size that nobody else has ever done, and he does not get enough credit. This guy is a Hall of Famer. There's no question about it, and he should get in soon, very soon, because he deserves it. He's earned it, absolutely. That being said, this match was it was okay. It wasn't terrible. I felt Roman Reigns worked a pretty damn good match. But the one thing I have to say is Big Show. I hate the Big Show's spear more than I hate Clitty Litter. And I hate Clitty Litter. Let me tell you. If you don't know what Clitty Litter is, think about it for a moment and then get back to me. And I'm getting a disgust. What? What did I say? If it doesn't apply to you, if you don't have Clitty Litter, then don't look at me with such disdain. Okay?
I don't even know what that is.
You know what Clitty Litter is.
Don't.
You don't. You can't
No.
figure it out. You're
No.
too...
No. Nobody should know what it is.
Everybody should know what Clitty Litter is. It makes sense, and it's a great word.
You're retarded.
I might be retarded, but you know what? Guess what I don't have? Clitty Litter. Boom. Blow it up. I do have dick cheese, unfortunately. That got gross really quick. And then they go ahead and bury Roman Reigns with a lot. No, I wrote that in all capitals because people are going to be like, and then they bury Roman Reigns because he lost to the Big Show. I don't know. I loved the backstage segment after that match with Triple H and Stephanie. I don't think these guys even understand that contractually we can't do what we just did to Roman. I laughed my ass off because it is an FU. That was obviously a Vince type of promo because he loves to do things like that. And it was talking about how they manipulated everybody. And some people weren't digging it. I didn't mind it. I actually kind of dug it. Next, Axel comes out. I thought this was cool. I thought Axel coming out was just really neat. He showed a side of him which we haven't seen in a while. And more importantly, it seemed like the fans were kind of digging on him a little bit and digging this angle with him not being eliminated from the Rumble. JBL and Booker are laughing at him on commentary, and a lot of people seem to be upset at that. I wasn't because I understood a little bit why they were doing it. What has Curtis Axel done in like the last 2 years? He's done nothing. He is a joke. He's not, but he is. I don't feel it wasn't a personal thing, like a real life personal thing, like Curtis Axel is terrible. It was his persona, what he has done in the ring over the last almost 2 years is nothing. The guy, and you could say what you want. Maybe it's how they booked him, but at the same time, you got to remember they pushed this guy to the moon early. They had him win the Intercontinental title. They had him in angles with Triple H. They gave him a lot of stuff, and guess what? They paired him with Paul Heyman, and he couldn't get over. He couldn't get over. That's not anybody's fault. That's the crowd's fault. The crowd does not connect with him, and it's unfortunate because Curtis Axel has the look. He's got the right name, the right pedigree. I think that everything about this guy, and he's very good working in the ring, sometimes a little inconsistent. I don't feel he always works good matches. He's been kind of having bad matches in NXT, and if you're having bad matches at NXT, there's something wrong. But I don't know. I don't know what that is. Sometimes he does appear to be a little out of shape. I don't know if that's just a work ethic thing. I don't know if that's him relying on his bloodline. It could be. I don't know what it is, but I like Curtis Axel, and I like to see him get over. But he's got to figure out why he's not connecting. But he's out there, and he's rambling on and on about, how he never got eliminated. And out comes Dean Ambrose, throws him over the top rope, grabs his mic. Now you're eliminated. I loved that. I thought it was really funny. I thought it was pretty good. Ambrose then decides to let us all know what he's doing for WrestleMania, and I think he was the wild card. Nobody quite knew what he was going to be doing for WrestleMania. I certainly didn't know, and I did not really expect this. But he calls out Bad News Barrett, who he beat. I guess that did make sense. He beat recently in a non-title match, and now he's like, well, I'm the next up. I just beat you. I should get a title shot. So it looks like we're going to have Dean Ambrose and Bad News Barrett at WrestleMania, which does not seem like a bad match. And I think it's a really good way to reestablish Ambrose's value. I think having him carry the Intercontinental title or just have a really good feud with Barrett over the title, maybe even pass it back and forth a little bit until we get a definitive winner of the feud, I think is a really good idea. And it could really help us not only reestablish Dean Ambrose as a top guy and as a potential main event guy, but also give some more credence and legitimacy to the Intercontinental title and possibly just stop having it as a placeholder title and start having it what it used to be. And that was a sign of an arrival for a guy. This is it. This is a marking of a future main event man. So hopefully that's going to keep happening. Bad News Barrett does respond on Twitter a little bit later on, and I thought it was hysterical. Bad News Barrett responds with this. You don't just call out a champion of my caliber. Dean Ambrose can sort off. Get back to the line, you dipstick. Get to the back of the line, you dipstick. That's fantastic. I love it. So we're going to see more out of those two. Very excited about that. They can work. I think the promos will be good. The in-ring action will be very good. They're both very physical workers. Should be a lot of fun to watch. The Ascension out next doesn't get a entrance. You can read into that as what you want. Maybe they were just strapped for time. They were just getting them out there. Versus Gold and Stardust, who also didn't get an entrance, so maybe there's nothing there. The Ascension wins, starting to pile up the victories now. Showing that they can hit the fall of man from different spots. They don't have to do it from opposite sides of the corners. I thought was really cool. Seeing a little bit more in the ring. It wasn't a very long match, and it was more about the furthering of the rift between Gold and Stardust. Goldust took the fall this week, and Cody kind of got into his ass saying, well, who's the one who doesn't have his head screwed on this week? Because that's what Goldust said to him last week. Backstage, Goldust tried to talk to Stardust, and Stardust is ranting and raving and being insane, which I absolutely love. And he's trying to calm him down, and he goes, Cody! And then Stardust goes, don't ever call me Cody again. It was great. I loved it. I laughed. I'm very invested in seeing where this feud goes. Because obviously we are going to get our match between the two guys at WrestleMania. Maybe not. Maybe they're going to go ahead and get this match together at Fastlane. I think 2 more Raws is a little bit quick, but they could do it. I'd rather see it saved for WrestleMania, but it all depends on the rest of the card, I think. So what do you guys think of that possibility? I think that could be a really good match. John Cena is officially fighting for the United States Championship. I did not think that was going to be a title match, but it is. And I think that further lets us know that not only will he not be winning. You know what? He could win the title. Now that I think about it, I'm going to kind of flip here. He could win the United States Championship at Fastlane. That's possible. To put Rusev over completely at WrestleMania, I could see him beating Rusev in a controversial fashion at Fastlane. And yes, giving Rusev his first loss, that might seem as a step down. But if it means Rusev going over at WrestleMania and maybe also leading to John Cena taking some time off, because I feel that they're going to completely destroy him after the match, Rusev would, I think it could be a really cool thing. I also have a feeling that there might be something more to John Cena talking about the young guys coming after his spot. What if we have an anti-Cena alliance, an ACA, an alliance of workers, mid-carders, and maybe even younger guys who are just looking to destroy Cena, kind of like the Dangerous Alliance of WCW days, led by Paulie Dangerously, Paul Heyman, to take out the man called Sting. I think that would work really well. That's something that we haven't seen in a very long time, at least not over an extended period of time. It could be a lot of fun. If it's focused on Cena. And it could even be, throw a wrinkle in there, you could have a guy like Eric Rowan who before his match with Rusev, went to Cena and said, thank you for standing up for me. And then after the match, Roman was getting destroyed. Cena didn't come out to save him, even though Cena's in a feud with Rusev. Why wouldn't he come out to save him? So, I don't know. Maybe I'm overthinking this a little bit, but I think if they wanted to, they can make something out of these subtle things that Cena's saying. And I also wouldn't take away from anything thinking that John Cena is actually hurt and he might be taking some time off, and that would also lead more credence to the whole thing of why Roman Reigns is being built the way he is, because they need another guy right now. Because there's just not another guy who is the combination of a fantastic worker and elite merchandise seller. There's just not. So they created one in Roman Reigns that may not be an elite worker, but he certainly has the merchandise sale and the correct look to offset that. So and you may not be happy about it, but it makes sense. I get it. Steph starts making matches in the middle of Cena's promo. Cena's doing a promo where he's bringing back all the fired guys, welcoming them back. Ziggler, Rowan, and Ryback. Steph interrupts and makes 3 matches. And this is when I start noticing we've already had a few matches, and now we're getting even more. The back half of the program was loaded. The first hour and 20 minutes wasn't fantastic. It was very slow. Slowed down mainly by that opening 27-minute promo. But after that, I really felt that Raw started to pick up, especially after this promo where Steph started making matches. So we're getting, right off the bat, it's Ryback and Luke Harper. Okay, this was the surprise match of the night for me. I wasn't expecting much out of the match because of how these guys work. Not only was it a good match, it was a borderline great match. And Luke Harper showing he can adapt to any style. Ryback looked pretty friggin' good getting the win in this match, too. Where's this build going for Ryback? I have no idea, because he's been built fairly well for a long time now. Where's his payoff coming? He's another X factor right now, because we have no idea where Ryback's going. Luke Harper is an elite worker, plain and simple. He might be the best big man in the business right now. Luke Harper's a big guy. He's a monster. He's huge. He's Kane size. He's big. And he might be the best big man in the business. He's really good because he doesn't work like a big man. JBL's catching a lot of flack over something he said during the match. It was my favorite comment of the night. JBL, if you listen to him when he's talking about Harper, he talks about The Walking Dead. He makes Rick Grimes references. He makes Walking Dead references all the time in regards to Luke Harper. Luke Harper does an Eddie Guerrero spot during the match where he flips himself over to the top rope and basically somersaults onto his opponent. JBL said Harper looked like a zombie version of Eddie Guerrero. I loved that line, and because I didn't feel it was a disrespectful thing to Eddie, especially knowing JBL's history with Eddie Guerrero. I was surprised that there was so much backlash about the comment, because it played into the Walking Dead stuff, and it made complete sense to me. JBL would never disrespect Eddie Guerrero intentionally. He would never say anything like that to be anything but complimentary towards Eddie Guerrero. So, I think the haters need to calm. That's not the fight to take, because JBL loved Eddie Guerrero, and it's very well known. So that was a great match. I was really happy with the Ryback getting the victory. Next, Jimmy Uso versus Cesaro. The ending. This match was it was plotting. It wasn't a good match. Actually, it was a good match. It wasn't a great match. There was a lot of back and forth. Jimmy is clearly the better worker of Jimmy and Jay, too. I'm also starting to realize Kid and Natty are ringside doing stuff. Kind of making things a little more interesting. They're really building Cesaro and Kid. This ending to this match, with Uso coming off of the ropes and Cesaro just waylaying him, just tools him with this uppercut. fantastic ending. Cesaro really looks to be reestablishing his value within WWE. The Cesaro swing is back. His moveset has opened up again. Cesaro maybe he is staying with the company more long term than I originally thought, because I think he's reestablishing his value. And the crowd is getting behind him again. And the fact is, this Tyson Kidd Cesaro pairing has worked. It's been very entertaining to watch. So that I really enjoyed that. Mizdow backstage segment was kind of funny. Mizdow is getting lost in this character of being a stunt double. He can't shut it off. Miz fires him for basically no real reason. Somebody wanted Mizdow's autograph over Miz's. He fires him and then hires him immediately as an assistant. You're no longer a stunt double, which I thought was funny because Mizdow could not turn it off. I thought it was kind of cool. All right. Dolph Ziggler and Bray Wyatt is out next, and they absolutely tear down the house. A couple things that I noticed. The crowd was split between Dolph and Bray, and this speaks to so many things that is said consistently about where the product is right now. As over as Dolph Ziggler is, there are certain guys like Bray Wyatt who's been nothing but cutting really hard-hitting promos about how evil he is and how big of a feared force he is and how he really doesn't care about the fans and all of that. He's still getting a lot of cheers. There was a lot of let's go Dolph, let's go Bray. It was very, very good. I loved this match. Jesus, these two can go. Bray is a different type of worker, and some people are on Twitter were kind of hitting me up saying, I don't like Bray Wyatt. I don't like the way he works because he's very herky-jerky. He's very non-traditional. And you're right. He's not traditional. He works a different style of match. But you know what? It's a really, really interesting style. It's psychological based. Everything he does is done with purpose. And then when you're in there with a Porsche like Dolph Ziggler, who is just constant go, these guys were hitting high-impact move after high-impact move. Everything looked good. These clotheslines that Bray was hitting on Dolph. Dolph sells better than anyone else in the business. It was just a great match. If you don't like this match, if you don't feel that the night was really starting to turn at this point for the better, then I don't know what to tell you. If you're shitting on this Raw at this point, then you're just buying into this whole, they're not pushing the guy I want and I don't like it. And if that's what it is, that's fine. That's your prerogative. But let me tell you, you are really depriving yourself of some really good wrestling. So, I think the idea, this is one of my notes here that I was just, I guess, thinking. I think the idea is to try to make fans happy by putting Bryan in at least in the mix, which I already talked about, so that was just a weird thing. At this point, I make a comment, and there was a backstage segment with Seth Rollins and Stephanie and Triple H, where Rollins references Randy Orton quite frequently. So I felt this was the return of Orton tonight. I thought there was no way that he wasn't going to return, and he would be the one costing Seth Rollins and setting up their subsequent match at WrestleMania. As we know, that doesn't happen. Randy Orton does not come out, but I feel that they are built, and this goes, again, to something Triple H said, that building a storyline over a longer period of time. And kind of slow burning this talk of Randy Orton coming back is going to make the payoff so much better for when Randy Orton does come back. So that should be really cool to see. I'm excited about that. Paige versus Alicia Fox did not take away much from the night for me. It wasn't a very long match. It wasn't a very good match. Alicia Fox seemed lost. She's so inconsistent. That's her biggest problem. But Paige is Paige. She's always good. She messed with the Bellas. That was the thing. The Bellas were at ringside. They were there. That was their purpose. That was the whole reason of the match, to further their storyline and to draw more drama between them. And they did. Paige messed with the Bellas, like screamed at them, scared the crap out of them. I thought the Bellas were pretty damn good on commentary. They weren't bad. They did a lot of talking, a lot of interesting back and forth. And it wasn't all straight heelish. They showed more sides of themselves. I enjoyed that. I also just want to throw. I can't help it. I just start throwing food at the television when I see Brie. I can't help it. I just want to throw food at this woman needs snack time. Someone needs to help her out. Get her a sandwich. Get her a bowl of soup. Yeah, throw some bananas at her. Fuck. I really helped this woman out. So Paige gets the win with a weird roll up. It was just strange roll up, but she gets the win. And spray tanned after the match by the Bellas. Jessie J is right. Damn, this was another roll-up victory in a Divas match. They do it every match at the WWE for some reason. Not NXT, but down in WWE, everything's with the Divas with a roll-up. Very strange. She then gets spray tanned by the Bellas. Man, that was weird. And everyone was thinking an NWO moment. I knew that wasn't going to be an NWO moment, but the spray tan was kind of interesting. Miz and Sin Cara out next. Sin Cara, I have to give credit to Hunico, who is now Sin Cara, if you don't know. Been Sin Cara for a long time, actually. Sin Cara, his work down in NXT has obviously got him to a point where he's comfortable. Because he's working so much better. He's showing so much potential. And I hope that they do something with him down the road. Because he has a good look. He's getting very, very comfortable in the ring, and he's working good matches with everyone he's been put in there with. And this was no exception. This was a little bit longer of a match. Miz doing his thing, really drawing a lot of heat, gets rolled up by Sin Cara for the victory after Mizdow completely gives in to all of the chants. We want Mizdow, and all this. He gives into it. He was getting chastised by the Miz the entire match. You just sit there, don't do anything. You're not my stunt double. This is the first time we didn't see Mizdow pantomiming all the moves. I kind of missed it. I know I've been the one calling for it. Let's get this over with, but I did kind of miss it. But I'm really happy that the storyline's progressing and we're one step closer to getting the breakup. So that's cool. Bray cuts a promo backstage, and there is no question this was about The Undertaker. Absolutely no question. So it's just a matter of when now. I was hoping it was going to be last night. It wasn't. It's just a matter of when. Fastlane makes a lot of sense, or more likely the night after, the Raw after Fastlane. Rowan and Rusev, I talked a little bit about this match before. There was really no match, just destruction. Rusev destroys him. Rowan does not get saved by Cena. Found that interesting. A little bit of promo after to set up the flag coming down. The flag does not come down. It was got caught up and did not drop. It was obviously a mistake. I don't think they tried to cover it up a little bit. Booker T saying, "Oh, did John Cena have something to do with that?" So they kind of worked a mistake into storyline. I kind of like that, but it was obvious that was a mistake. If there would have been a John Cena shirt stuffed into the little area where the flag comes down, then I would have said okay. But it was a mistake, and it was funny, and it worked. It worked. It drew a reaction. Rusev, say what you want about him, draws reactions, and it's going to be very interesting to see what they do with him and Cena long term. I do believe Rusev will win this war. Reigns and Bryan talking backstage. Very edgy promo from Rowan. This is kind of where the night turned again for me in a good way. It was good anyway, but I mean, it kind of went to another notch because I'm noticing changes in Roman's character. I'm noticing changes in the way he's talking, and it's very cool. I think they're really starting to figure it out a little bit. Maybe Roman is just starting to figure this out, and Daniel Bryan is a perfect guy to do this with. It really is. It works. I know it has the potential for disaster because Bryan is so much the guy that so many people do want to see. But I'm wondering just how big that contingency of people that want Bryan truly is. Because in this whole situation with Bryan and Reigns, Bryan gets booed while talking about Reigns. It was very interesting. It was very, very interesting. So obviously Reigns is more over than people realized. I tried to say that. I didn't think this was a Batista situation strictly because of how over Reigns was. And now if they're starting to tweak his character a little bit, which they clearly did, and we'll get to the main event in a second and why I think that, This is good things for Roman Reigns and the overall product. So main event time, Seth Rollins, Daniel Bryan. These two tear it down, man. Just outstanding. Bryan finally opens up his moveset for the first time since he's been back. He works a fantastic match. We see basically his entire repertoire. He's still being very careful in the moves that he would normally fall on the back of his head. He's still being very careful with them, but he's opening up. He's becoming more aggressive, more physical. It's looking very good. Everybody gets involved. Big Show gets involved. The Stooges, J&J Security gets involved. And towards the end of the match, after Big Show gets involved again, Roman Reigns comes flying down the aisle and absolutely obliterates Big Show with one of the coolest looking spears I've ever seen. And people can say, oh, this is the problem with Reigns. Look at his spear. That spear was badass, man. That spear was badass. Say what you want. This guy is athletic as hell. That is an athletic man, and he showed it. That was a great spear. Explosive, dynamic, aggressive. It's what you want to see. And he destroyed Big Show with it. He got involved, created a lot of chaos, and really handpicks his opponent, which I think is important for Fastlane. He handpicked Daniel Bryan by taking out Seth Rollins. So where does this leave us over the next couple of weeks as they build to the Daniel Bryan Roman Reigns match? Well, very simple, kids. Seth Rollins and Roman Reigns can work one or two matches between that time frame, and they could be very good matches. Again, legitimizing Roman Reigns, putting him in there with guys who can work. They're putting a bigger spotlight on Reigns and hopefully going to be more heightening his ability and showing people maybe this isn't going to be so bad. This was smart. This was smart. And even when he's not working good matches like tonight where he worked a match with Big Show, which wasn't great, it was at the beginning of the card, and then he closes the show with absolute chaos. This is exactly what you want to see. This is what you want out of a top guy. Cena nowhere to be found. Reigns starting to become that guy who is driving the show, and he's showing that he could do it because he did drive all of the action that went on in that main event towards the end. He created the chaos. He really shined. This was a good night for Roman Reigns. I think it was a good night for just about everybody. I feel Daniel Bryan had a great night. Seth Rollins had a real good night. You know, even Rusev with the mistake, he had a great night. It was just a really, really solid show. I'd give it a 7.5. 7.5, maybe even an 8. 7.7. There you go. 7.75 is what I'm giving tonight's show. I thought it was really good. 7 3/4 stars. If you get that reference, you're awesome. 3 3/4 stars. Yeah. If you get that reference, put in the comment section below. Let's see exactly how old my audience truly is. Roman Reigns, 3 3/4 stars. That's great. Anyway, made myself laugh. We're getting closer to 500 subs, guys. It's getting exciting. I'm going to be doing a giveaway here. Hopefully my arcade block will be here today, and I can do the unboxing, and that'll be a lot of fun. And add more stuff to the epic giveaway box. It's getting there. It's getting pretty full. And a few more items, and more importantly, a few more subs. And I will be sending it out to one lucky subscriber at random. I'm just going to pick a name and send it to you. Here's how it's going to work. I'm going to write you, whoever the subscriber is, and if I don't get a response within 2 days, I'm going to also obviously shout you out here. If I don't get a response in 2 or 3 days, I'll pick another name. Maybe I'll even give you a week, but that's how it's going to work because I don't want this to go on forever. So let me know what you guys think about everything. What did you think of Raw? I want to know your thoughts on this. I thought it was a really, really good Raw. Where am I wrong? Where am I right? Tell me what you think. Get a dialogue going. I looked on Skype before I started the show. Nobody was there, so I didn't call anybody. I kind of wanted to do a solo show anyway. A lot of people have been contacting me about wanting to do full shows. So I kind of want to clarify my position here a little bit. I definitely want interaction with you guys on Skype. That's why I gave out my Skype information. I want to have people on the show. Here's the thing. I'm not looking for full-on co-hosts. Jeff Huffman is my tag team partner. That is my co-host. When I want to do a full show review and I want a partner, it's Jeff Huffman. For segments, I want small segments. I want, when you guys are contacting me on Skype, let me know specifically what you want to talk about and then have a clear idea of what you want to say, and we'll do probably a 3, 4, maybe even 5-minute segment. Tony, it was an exception to this rule because of how good the conversation goes. And I can't say that that won't happen again. It probably will. If we have good chemistry and we're able to talk and it goes longer, then it'll happen. But, you know, don't be pissed off at me and don't think that I'm ignoring you guys. It's just I want to know what you want to talk about and get you in on segments. And the other thing that you have to keep in mind is the time zone difference. It doesn't always work out. So it's not me being a dick. It's not me saying, oh, I don't care about anything. That's not what it's about. It really is. It's about timing. So I will have a day probably in the next couple of weeks where I stay up a little bit later and I jump on Skype probably on a weekend and I just start calling a bunch of you guys and I'll do like a viewer show. Maybe I'll start doing it on Sundays too, where I just do a viewer show where I give you guys a few minutes each to say some stuff you want. I think that's a really good idea. What do you guys think of that? Let me know in the comment section below. And as always, like, subscribe, and share. I'm out of here. Thanks, guys, for watching once again. I'm your boy, Dead on Dave. This is Dead on Dave Productions with your Daily Focus. Peace.